You know that feeling. When you see it on the news, an earthquake, a flood, a hurricane, it just looks like total chaos, right? Well, believe it or not, behind all of that, there's actually a system designed for survival. And that's what we're breaking down today: disaster management.
So yeah, that big question, when disaster strikes, is there really a plan? It kind of gets to the heart of how vulnerable we feel, doesn't it? Because in the moment, it just seems like pure random chaos. But I'm telling you, there is a framework. It's all about trying to manage that chaos and bring some order to the unpredictable.
All right, so what is disaster management exactly? It's so much more than just the heroic rescue teams we see on TV. Think of it like a continuous cycle, a process that never really stops. It starts way before a disaster hits, and it keeps going long after the cameras have packed up and gone home. It's this perpetual loop of getting ready, responding, recovering, and then learning.
And that brings us to what might be the most crucial phase of all: what happens before the storm. This is where the real, life-saving work gets done, often quietly, without any fanfare. It's all about being proactive, not just reactive.
This before phase really stands on two key pillars. First, you've got mitigation. Think of this as trying to lessen a disaster's punch, like building a stronger shield. Then there's preparedness. That's all about having a response team ready to go the very second the alarm bells ring. So one reduces the impact, the other perfects the response.
Okay, let's make this idea of mitigation a little more concrete. A perfect example is earthquake-resistant construction. I mean, countries like Japan are absolute masters at this. They have these incredibly strict building codes, so their structures can actually sway and absorb the shock of a quake. And for older buildings, they use a process called retrofitting, which is basically strengthening existing structures to meet today's standards. The key takeaway here is huge. You're not stopping the earthquake, you're stopping the building from collapsing.
And does this really matter? Absolutely. Get this, in Delhi alone, India's National Disaster Management Authority identified 4,000 buildings that just could not survive a major earthquake. 4,000. Just take a second to imagine the potential loss of life. It shows you why mitigation isn't just a good idea, it's an absolute necessity.
Now let's jump over to that other pillar, preparedness. This cyclone warning system is a perfect example. It's simple, it's clear, and it is incredibly effective. Instead of some complex weather report nobody can understand, communities just get a color code. Green means you're okay, but when it hits red, it means take action now. This gives people precious time to evacuate and protect their property. It's a textbook case of how being prepared saves lives. But look, no matter how much we prepare, disasters are still going to happen. And when they do, the clock starts ticking immediately. This during phase is all about swift, decisive action in those critical moments right after a crisis hits.
In the immediate aftermath, the priorities are crystal clear, and they're all focused on survival. You've got to maintain law and order, get search and rescue teams on the ground, provide immediate medical care, and supply essentials like food, water, and temporary shelters. This is the absolute front line of disaster management.
Okay, so the immediate danger might have passed, but the work is far from over. This after phase, it's about more than just rebuilding houses. It's about rebuilding lives, rebuilding communities, and this is so important, learning from the experience so we can be better prepared for whatever comes next. And this learning process, it happens on a global scale. The whole international approach has evolved over time. We went from just reacting to disasters to proactively trying to reduce the risk. Then, in 2004, the focus shifted to building resilience within communities. And today, we have the Sendai framework, which sets clear, measurable goals for the entire world. And here are those goals. The Sendai framework is really specific and ambitious. It's a global commitment to tangibly reduce deaths, the number of people affected, and the economic damage. It's a strategic, data-driven plan for a safer world, with a huge focus on increasing the availability of early warning systems for everyone.
So, we've talked about governments and global frameworks, but this whole disaster management cycle isn't complete without its most important component, and that's you and your community. Here's the bottom line. Official response teams can't be everywhere at once. It's just impossible. The very first responders in any disaster are often neighbors helping neighbors. That's why community awareness, driven by local organizations and public campaigns, is so vital. Just knowing your evacuation route, having a family plan, being aware of the risks, this knowledge is a critical line of defense.
So, this leaves us with a final thought.
As we face a future with all sorts of evolving challenges, from climate change to pandemics, building resilience isn't just a government policy. It's a community project. It's about looking at this whole system and asking ourselves, what is my role in it?